Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be the dreaded "Let's Just Be Friends" speech. I got an email here from a guy who, what he says he meets all the girls that he goes out with or potential dating candidates of his. He meets them through Facebook, starts a friendship, starts talking to them, chatting, eventually goes out on a date. But what happens with every single one of these girls is he gets to a certain point and he says, "Will you be my girlfriend?" And of course they all say the "let's just be friends," "I only think of you as just a friend," or they just say something like, "I'm just not ready for a relationship right now," even though he may have gone out with dates and hooked up, kissed, made out, those kinds of things. He still gets the "let's just be friends" speech, and so he's scratching his head wondering why. And the thing to remember, or I say to understand if you haven't read my book yet, is that women fall in love slowly over time. And I say the biggest mistakes that most guys make is they look at love and dating like it's a sprint race, like it's a mad dash for the finish line, when in reality it's really just a long marathon and you have to take your time. Because women fall in love slowly over time. Even if she has a real high level of interest in you to start out with, it's still going to take a couple months of dating, going out at least like once a week. And like over the course of, say, 2 months, you're going to go out on maybe a dozen or so dates. And as long as you do everything right, or I should say most things right, by the end of a couple months, or at least a dozen or so dates, she'll be in love with you. And the thing that guys are always worrying about is, at what point does she become my girlfriend? Do I ask her to be my girlfriend? What do you have to do? And what I always tell guys is forget about asking. Don't ask about having her be your girlfriend and you being her boyfriend, or commitments or relationship. It's like, don't get hung up in any of that stuff. Those things really are unimportant, because the bottom line is until she starts talking about them and bringing those conversations up, it means that her emotions and her feelings towards you are not at that level. A lot of guys make the mistake of just assuming, well, I just have this conversation with a woman. It's like flipping on a light switch, like it's some kind of logical thing that happens as a result of him giving a convincing argument of why she should be his girlfriend. And in reality, what really happens if you do everything right, the more you hang out with her and the more your dates go well, then when you take her home, like the next day, whereas it may have been 2 days or so before she contacted you, she'll contact you maybe a day later, or the next day after you've had the date. And so as you, over the course of a couple of months, as you go out with her, you date her like once a week, what's going to happen is she'll start initiating texts and phone calls and sending you emails or sending you a message on Facebook or something like that. And so you can interact and just basically plan the next date. And so obviously by the course at the end of 2 months, if you've done everything right, you're obviously going to be spending a lot more time with her than just going out with her once a week, because she's going to be calling you and pursuing you all the time. But, it's like I say, is like women are kind of like, as far as them falling in love, it's kind of like baking a cake in the oven, where you have to put the cake in the oven and you got to give it the time to rise. And you can't keep opening the door going, is it done yet? Is the cake ready yet? Because what happens is it'll deflate the cake and it'll never cook properly. Women are basically the same way. They take time to fall in love, and it's just a process that you cannot rush. And if you try to rush it and you try to force things, even though she may go along with things at first, at some point when you run up against her comfort barrier and you're asking her or trying to force her to do things she's not ready for, that's when you're going to get the "let's just be friends" speech, and she's going to be gone and she'll start avoiding your phone calls, or she'll just stop returning them altogether. So I got this email here, and he says, "Hi, Corey. I found it very easy to pick up ladies via Facebook. I guess that's my own area of specialization. I do get on well with them after so few chats, and we move to the phone to get to know each other. Initially, we do get on well, but whenever I ask them to be my girlfriend, I always hear those dreaded BS lines like, 'let's just be friends,' 'I'm not ready for a relationship,' and so on. And the reason that's happening is you never ask a woman to be your girlfriend. You never say those things. The idea is that you just keep creating fun-filled romantic opportunities for sex to happen, which are also known as dates, preferably in the evening. Don't go to movies and do shit like that, because you can't talk to a woman if you're at a movie. Obviously, you're watching a movie and you want to be hanging out somewhere where you can have stimulating conversation. She can be maybe close where she can reach over and touch your arm, as her interest level goes up over the course of the evening. He says, I keep trying for a while, and I let go after they keep sticking to what they have said to me before, which is, let's just be friends. I've only dated one of like 5 girls I have met in this way. Even with this one particular girl, she told me she's not ready for a relationship now. I forgot about her only for her to call me after exactly a month of walking away to tell me she's agreed to be my girlfriend. More than likely what happened is her interest level was definitely above 51%. It may have been 60% before when you asked her to be your girlfriend. But what happened is you rushed it. You basically tried to get her to do more than she was ready to do. And as I've talked about before, when time passes and you made a woman feel uncomfortable, as the time goes by, those negative feelings or emotions that you made her feel, they have less and less of an impact. And as a matter of fact, she actually starts to have a more rosy view of you after enough time has passed. And so, more than likely, no better candidate came along, and plus you walked away, because most guys won't do that. Most guys will just continue to chase until she stops taking his phone calls altogether and just never returns them, hoping he'll just go away. He says, my question now is, I do start well to get the attention of ladies via this means, and they really enjoy me. I'm always funny, cocky, and humorous when I'm on the phone talking to them. That's good. I do call a lot after we get to know each other well. And that is your problem. That's where you're really fucking up big time. Is because when you're dating any woman for that matter, you should make sure that, like, when you're on the dates, that she's doing 70 to 80% of the talking. Why? How do you do that? By simply asking questions about her, what's going on with her life, her things that she's interested in. I go into extensive detail on that in my book. And also, you want to make sure she's doing 70 to 80% of the pursuing, meaning she's calling you, she's texting you. And what you do is you start out with everyone. You ask them out once a week, and you go out on a date. And if you do everything right, and she has at least 51% interest level in you to start out with, then over the course of 2-3 weeks or 2 or 3 dates that you go out with her, her interest level is going to go up, and then she's going to start to pursue you a little bit more. She's going to call, she's going to text, she's going to initiate contact, and all that means is that's the sign of you're doing everything right and you're raising her level of interest, and because of that she wants to see you more, and so her contacting you is her invitation to say, hey, hopefully you get the hint that I want to see you, and you'll make something happen. So he says, how can I navigate to her being their boyfriend using this method of meeting them on Facebook without the risk of hearing all those stupid lines? Simple. Stop asking them to be your girlfriend. Don't ever fucking ask that question ever again. Never bring it up like that. As a matter of fact, you should just date women, have fun, make sure they're laughing, having a good time on the date, and that's it. At the end of the night, go for the kiss. If they like you, they'll kiss you back. If they just think of you as a friend, then they're going to turn their head at the last moment when you're going in for the kiss, and you're going to end up kissing their cheek. Or that means that they're a structured woman, meaning that she's got a ton of fucking rules, and she's not going to let you kiss her until you meet a certain amount of criteria. I don't fuck with women like that. If a woman likes me and she purposely turns her head because she's got rules and she's structured, I'm not going to fucking waste my time, because when you go out with a woman like that, you can't ever read how she is, because she's not being herself when she shows up. It's an act. And so, like I said, if a woman turns her head, then don't set another date with her, because then you're just asking, to get another beating. He says, this trend has made me know so many ladies who I initially got on well with to later hear those dreaded lines. I'm tired of repeating the same cycle. I have 3 other prospects now, and I never want to get the same results I've been getting in the past with these 3 as well. I found it's easy to walk away from all of them and forget them in so little time, but this last one I've known for past 7 months and I'm struggling to let her go. That's 7 months, dude. 7 months of your life that you can't get back. And so you basically carried the torch for way too long. And if you'd have read my book, you obviously could have either done things right and gotten her 7 months ago, or you would have blown her off and moved on to somebody else because she just didn't have a high enough level of interest in you to start out with. And so he's got another one. It's basically, I can see this is a pattern here of what's happening, is that you go out on a few dates and then you say, will you be my girlfriend? And they tell you no, and then you're walking away for a few weeks or a month or whatever, and you're not paying attention to the fact that they're not calling you when you stop calling them. And that should tell you everything you need to know, because if you stop calling and pursuing a woman and you don't hear from her for 2 weeks, that means that she doesn't like you or she's dating some other guy. And either way, there's no reason to call or pursue. If a month or two goes by and you hear from her, then maybe she was dating some other guy or got back together with a boyfriend and you got a chance. But in your case, I mean, you said right in your email here that you do most of the calling, and that's, like I said, you're pursuing too much. In essence, you're basically acting like the woman does when she feels comfortable and in love in a relationship. She tries to help and make things better. She tries to help you guys get together. And what's happening is you're trying to make things happen way too fast, and you're trying to rush women through the process of attraction and getting them to fall in love with you. It's just something you can't do. It takes a certain amount of time to bake a cake in an oven, and it takes a certain number of really good dates where you do everything right consistently over and over about a 2-month period to get a woman to fall in love with you, to the point where, like, they say things like, well, where's this going? Or they say, you're not dating anyone else, are you? Well, if you are, you better not be sleeping with them. And then that's when you start asking, like, what do you mean? Are you telling me I can't date anybody else now? And she's like, well, yeah. I was like, well, what are you saying? Well, I mean, I think we should be exclusive now. It's like you ask questions, and she'll bring it up when the time's appropriate, so you don't have to say anything. So if you find this message of value, you can show your appreciation by going down to the Wibbia toolbar, which is at the bottom of your screen if you're watching this video on my website, and click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information in this video. At the very least, please share this page with all your friends and family by clicking any one of the social network sharing buttons, which are also located on the Wibbia toolbar at the bottom of your screen. And if you have a question that you'd like to ask me, or there's a topic that you want me to cover in a future video newsletter, click the Contact Me tab on the left-hand side of your screen and send me 3 or 4 paragraphs detailing your situation. Please be brief, and just give me several days to get back to you with a detailed response, because I get a lot of email from the internet, and I also get a lot of emails from my paying customers, and I have to answer those first for obvious reasons. But just be patient, I will get back with you. And if you want to talk to me right away, you can book a paid phone coaching session by clicking the Products tab at the top of your screen and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.